Hey guys, Sean Foley here from ProSendr. These are 3 things that the ProSendr...
Stay tuned to hear more from Sean later in the video.
If you do this drill 15 times during your next practice session, your takeaway will change and improve forever. In this video, we're going to address one of the biggest faults I see amongst high handicap golfers. Players that struggle to get the wrist angles in the correct positions that enable them to build a really nice backswing, transition, and therefore impact position. The common fault that I see, and let me know if you fall into this category as well, is the golf club opening during the takeaway. So we start to see the trail forearm, which for me is my right arm, rolling open during the takeaway position, which then encourages my wrist to roll open, and obviously then the club face to roll open as well. You'll also see the shaft of the club getting almost horizontal parallel to the ground. What we want to see is a golf club that's a little bit more upright, the shaft angle higher than the hand, and the face in a stronger position. I'm going to come onto the face a little bit later in this video, but we need to try and address the angle of the shaft during the takeaway. So sometimes the easiest thing to do is try and completely do the opposite of what you're doing wrong. So if you are that player that fans the club open, the forearm rotates open and the face opens up as well, I want us to try and use this drill to go the complete opposite way. I want you to feel as if your forearm is almost rotating into the ground, and we're creating a wrist hinge that lifts the golf club up higher than the hands. So you can see here my right forearm is rotating and pointing at my left forearm. The face angle, as I look at it, is pointing to 10 o'clock. It's pointing up in that direction during this takeaway position. So you see the face is higher than my hands. The shaft angle is pointing down my target line, but also angled up towards the sky as opposed to being below my hands. But also what you don't see, what we did at the start, we don't see this horizontal angle. So the drill we're going to do is very simple. It's something that you can obviously do at home or even while you're watching this video. I want you to try and first of all understand what the wrist angles need to do. They don't go, if we put the arms out in front of the stomach, they don't go vertical, so we don't want the shaft going vertical. And for those that have addressed this video already, we don't want the shaft going horizontal because we don't want it going open. I actually want the shaft of the club to go around about 45 degrees, and what that's doing is hinging this trail wrist, and in doing so it's rotating the forearm. So I want you to feel as if you're rotating the right forearm to the ground as you hinge your wrist. And what that's going to help you do is going to help you stabilize the shoulder position. We're going to keep the forearms in nice close together. We're going to be able to create this kind of extension in the right wrist as well. And I think by focusing more on the right arm, the trail arm, then we're going to be able, as right-handed golfers, we should be in more control of this right side as opposed to maybe focusing on the left side. Again, for right-handed golfers, obviously. So into that position, first of all, we're going to see a little bend in this elbow. The forearm's going to rotate to feel like it's rotating to the ground. And remember, it's an opposite feeling to what you're used to. So I would do lots of practice of this. I would take it into position, check it, swing up to the top, and hit my ball. And that's how you would go through a normal practice session. And the 15 times drill is just doing it 15 times. It's moving the golf club into that correct position 15 times before you then get over the golf ball, rehearse it one more time, maybe that's for your 15th, and then hit. And we should start to see a completely different feel during the ball strike. You should start to feel more compression. Now, there's a really cool training aid that I've been doing a lot of research on. It's not brand new, it's been out for a while. It was created by David Woods and Sean Foley. Sean Foley being the former coach of Tiger Woods. And here's Sean's advice to you on how to use this before I get into this as well.
Hey guys, Sean Foley here from ProSendr. These are 3 things that the ProSendr can do to help you be a more consistent ball striker. As you can tell, the cradle is not resting against the back of the wrist. So even when I take my grip, that is the case. That's really helpful for amateurs because a lot of amateurs get the club head too inside too quickly, and then it has to come back over the top to find its way to get back in line. So how the ProSendr helps in that phase is that as I take the club back, my hand would not be in the cradle yet. Now, as I build it to the top of my backswing, I can create torque to get my right wrist in extension, and when I do that, that puts the club face in a better position for me to square it coming down into the ball. Remember, the difference between a pro and an amateur is the rate that the pros close the club face at. It's much higher. The ProSendr helps give us a head start on being able, in a very short time, to be able to do that.
Guys, if you're enjoying the video so far, please do hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the bell for notifications, because there's 3 videos a week coming out, all to help your game. If you've got any requests that you want to see, if there's anything in particular that you're struggling with in your game that you want me to help you with, please do just drop that down in the comments section below. So there are 2 key components of the ProSendr. We've got the ball and we've got the wrist pad. The wrist pad can go straight on, very simple to do. Velcro around the wrist, tight, get it nice and tight. There we go. Now I'm only going to use this aspect of it because the video is not necessarily about compression. This tip's not necessarily about compressing the golf ball, but this is a little bit of a 3-in-1. You can use it like this. You could focus on it, maybe just focusing more on the ball, or you can focus on both together. And the ball helps you kind of encourage that kind of shaft lean, squeezing the forearms together. A lot of amateur golfers get to the top of their backswing and we start to create a big gap between the forearms. Having a ball like this to kind of squeeze into is a really good way for you to feel a little bit more solid at the top of the backswing. Helps you with your wrist angles as well, of course, but also helps you just keep that connectivity in your swing. But we're not going to use that today. So for those that have been struggling with takeaway, if you see, if I put the ProSendr, I've got the ProSendr on, as I take this golf club away, the forearms are going to rotate and my hand's not going to really make contact with the pad here until very late in the takeaway. So it's going to take my hands a long time to get there. Whereas if I get the feeling that this forearm's rotating down and we're creating that extension in the right wrist, we get there super early. So I get there before my hands even touch my right thigh. And that's the position now that I want to get into. I want to keep this forearm feeling, effectively feeling like the forearms are staying pointing at each other as I create this wrist hinge. Now the feeling I gave you earlier in the video is that you were turning your forearm into the ground. That's just to go the complete opposite and counteract that forearm rotating up to the sky. So we're going to get that sensation that the forearms are pointing, staying together, and you get that right wrist hinging into the back of the pad, and you see the face angle gets to 10 o'clock. And as I get to the top of the backswing, I stay in extension with that right wrist, and my face angle stays square, and my right wrist stays attached into that pad. And as I work through, I can release it on the way through. So it's a really good way of creating that feel. Now, the good thing about this training aid is you need to move into position. It doesn't push you into that position. And that means that you're able to build your own motor skills yourself without being pushed into a position. Because if a training aid makes you go into a position, you're never really going to be able to get that feeling to stick. Whereas now, if you have to move into that position, you're understanding that sensation and that feeling of how to do it during your practice, and then you'll learn a lot more. So when this comes off, you won't massively notice it as much because you'll have practiced putting it into that correct position. So we take the club back, hinge, turn, and whack. It's a really good training aid. If you are interested in getting one, I'm going to put a link down in the description below. You can go onto Golf Swing Systems and avail of 5% off. Go onto the ProSendr website, learn a little bit more about it as well to see if it is for you. But I only really showcase these training aids if they are good. So this one is an actual really, really good. Like I said, 3-in-1 if you want to work on the compression. We spoke a little bit there about the forearms at the top of the backswing. It can help with that too. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like, hit the subscribe. See you next time.